What's up, traders? This is your boy Ace Boogie coming to you live and direct. We'll do a trade recap of my one and only trade today on ticker NK. Here's the daily chart pulled up right now. As you can see, it's been a real big winner since mid December. It's up roughly, or it was up roughly 135% um, since it broke out over this highs on December 3rd. And I've been stalking the stock for a few days now, waiting for today, which happens to be the first red day. I thought it was gonna happen yesterday after this, blow off top, um, and parabolic move. Went supernova, went straight up. But nonetheless, I shorted it today on the first red day, and I caught a decent piece of the move. Catching almost the whole body of the candle. So let's dig into a little bit deeper of why I chose this and how I executed my plan. So pull up 15-minute chart. As you can see on this big volume day, the day it really went parabolic. It came back down off a dip, broke down under VWAP, made a low, which is happened to be 345. I'm sorry, happened to be 355, but we'll get there in a second. Made a low and came back up and got rejected at this level just above VWAP, and that was the previous day. So keep this in mind, this rejection area, because this is what I was risking off of today. This morning I saw it opening up in the pre-market, and it was opening red. I think it was at like 375 by 380, most of the morning. So I saw that some of the shares was kind of getting taken up for borrow. So I went ahead and I threw a small order in there to fill some in the pre-market, and I got filled right at this 7 o'clock candle, this little pop right here. So when the market opens, it basically traded sideways until the market opened, and when the market opened, we had a little bit of decent volume. One of the things I didn't like about the stock was even when the regular session opened, the spread was kind of funky. It was very low volume today compared to yesterday. And while that was a kind of a hindrance to me getting in, the best ideal entry, um, it also was, a good indicator for me to know that, hey, if not a lot of volume comes into the stock today, there's no way it can, retest these highs or really retest, highs above these or above here. So what I did was after shorting, I was basically risking this 414, bounce where it got rejected at yesterday. And look, right here on the 945 candle, it spiked up and it tested that 415, 414 area, and it rejected nicely off of it as I thought it would. From there, it basically sold off the next 45 minutes, and I was able to, well, first, on the same candle, it had a bounce from 350 all the way up to that 415 area. So here's the bounce right here. It sold off, but when I say this was super quick, this was less than a minute. It basically bounced and just came right back up within the like one or two ticks. So unless you already had an order to cover right here, waiting to be executed, there was no way you were going to see this and execute unless you're just using hotkeys or something. I was waiting for the 350 test. I wanted to see how I was going to act around 350 because I wanted to see if it can be further downside. So this was way too quick for me to even attempt to cover into. But once it bounced off this area, that's when it came back. Dip buyers were in it strong, and broke through four finally, And at this point, I was a little bit concerned, but I had this 414 area in mind the whole time. And when it topped out at 414, 415, and came back down, I knew that, my risk level was secure. Um, Sold off quite a bit, broke back under VWAP. It was trading real choppy, but really when it broke under this 362 area is where it kind of went down all the way to 350. And it was dancing around 350 for a while. It came down here, bounced up, came back down, but eventually it cracked 350, and I just covered into strength, um, or covered into weakness. So I didn't want to mess around with this. It's a real company, you know. Pull the stuff up. So on Finviz, you can see, the breakout level was pretty freaking clean too. Buying this breakout was, you know, a a pattern. It's not a crazy high float, not a crazy low float, decent float, you know. And they had news a few days ago, which kind of kept this momentum going in that upward direction. But after I covered, I'm glad I covered when I did because I would have had to wait another, hour and a half to catch the same price action. So it bounced off, came back up to VWAP. VWAP bounce is a good short opportunity. So if you see it right here, it comes down after a nice panic in the morning, and it bounces and it gets rejected at VWAP. This is another short. You could have shorted right here if there were shares, and cover it back down into the 330s when it got tested again. Even though it's really fast and it was kind of a hard spread, you could have put an order down there just to, cover right at what the lower day was, and it probably got filled. And like see, the bounces, perpetually got smaller and smaller, um, until we reached the close. And here we are today. It closed at the same spot where I covered that. So you could have took your profits here, or you could have went through the stress of the whole day, and risk it coming back up and going back green on the day and doing something crazy, squeezing, or you can wait till the end of the day and take it at the end of the day. There may be more downside on this stock. I don't know. Frankly, I don't care. This is like a one and doneer. I'm on to the next one. If there's more downside, then great. The setup is even more rewarding than what I anticipated it would be. And yeah, just look to learn from setups just like these. Um, Once I traded this, I left the market. I was done. So another thing to point out is I did have intentions. I only had half size here. I did have intentions on adding, above four, but no borrow, no cry. There were no shares available for me to get back in or to add to this position. That's why I just kind of waited it out. Normally I would have probably covered right here, then reshorted and can't cover then get covered again down there, or whatever. But all the shares I had was all the shares I had, so I had to make the best out of it. And I think this, roughly 8% was, pretty decent single. But that's all I got. If you have any other questions for me, hit me up in the chat room, shoot me a message, leave me a comment. Have a great day. Ace Boogie out.